Oh, no, yeah, there. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, October 24th, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden Successor Agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:05 p.m. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, please be advised that members of the Bell Garden Successor Agency may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public review and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any agency member should have a conflict of interest, please announce any item you're recusing due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being shared. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Danny Anguiano, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Flores Franco. Pastor?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, and Police Chief and staff. It is an honor to be here in this evening as we bow our heads. Let us remember that we come before God to ask for his guidance. Let us bow our heads. Heavenly Father God, we come before you in this hour. We pray that your guidance be with us. I pray that your knowledge and wisdom be over our leadership to better our community. And we pray for the blessings over our city. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray this. Amen.
Amen.
If everyone can please stand and join me on the Pledge of Allegiance. So right hand over your hearts. Okay, we begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Agency Secretary, will you please call the roll of Successor Agency?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Agency Member Barcena. Agency Member Cortez.
Present.
Agency Member Flores.
Present.
Vice Chair Chavez.
Present.
And Chair Pulido.
Present. We will now move to the first item on the agenda. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, will you please announce the instructions for the public participation?
Yes, thank you. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the item listed on the Successor Agency agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comment is limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. We did not receive any written communications, and we do not have any comments for the Successor Agency. Yeah, but they're not for Successor Agency.
If there's no objection by the agency members, I will close public participation. We will now move to the consent calendar. Does any member of the agency wish to pull an item for separate discussion? May I have a motion?
Approve.
May I have a second?
Second, Cortez.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Flores and a second by Councilwoman Cortez. Agency Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Agency members Barcena,
Yes.
Agency Member Cortez,
Yes.
Agency Member Flores Franco,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chavez,
Yes.
and Chair Pulido.
Yes. We will now move to public participation for non-agenda items. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, please announce the instructions for any speakers.
Thank you. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items that's not listed on the Successor Agency agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We did not receive any written communications. and we do not have any for the successor agency.
If there is no objection by the city council, I will close public participation. Does any member wish to make a comment? If there is no objection by the successor agency, I will adjourn the successor agency meeting at 6:10 PM and call to order the city council meeting. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, October 24, 2022, 6 PM regular meeting of the Bell Gardens City Council. The meeting will now come to order at 6:10 PM. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, please be advised that the members of the Bell Gardens City Council may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. Council members, please announce any item you're recusing from due to a conflict of interest prior to the meeting, to the item being heard. City Clerk, will you please call a roll of the City Council?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Council members Barcena,
Present.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Present.
Councilwoman Flores Franco,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Present.
and Mayor Pulido.
Present. We will now move to the next item on the agenda. Public participation is now open for items listed on the agenda. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you, Mayor. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the city council agenda. Please state your name for the record, and each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. If you haven't done so already, please submit all comment cards now. We do have 2 callers on Zoom. However, I don't know if it's for a non-agenda item or agenda item. So when I unmute you, if you could please announce if you want to provide a comment for an item on the agenda, which is what we're hearing at this time. Please select the microphone icon to unmute your call. Caller with the last 3 numbers, 849. Please select the microphone icon on your device or select unmute. Did you want to provide a comment on any agenda item at this time?
Hello. My name is Wally, and I would like to talk about the city that's depleting my homelessness. I'm just so dysfunctional. I can't even take a shower, and I just need help. Can you help me?
Wally, did you want to provide a comment? This isn't a time for discussion with the council. It's only for you to provide a comment at this time, but
I
since you
am
wanna
actually
speak on something that's
all
not listed on
items,
the
and
agenda,
if you
I'll
could
put
help
back
me on the
speaking queue on hold.
agenda.
And then when the non-agenda item period is open, then you may provide your comment at that time.
I need your help, please. I'm going cuckoo for Cocoa Pops.
Okay, thank you. Hold on 1 second, please, while I. put you
Please
back on
help me.
Caller with the last 3 numbers, 403. If you would please select the microphone icon. Thank you. Did you want to provide a comment on an item listed on the agenda?
Yes, but I was on the successor agency and you passed over me 3 times. You didn't
My
take any
apologies. Did you want to go ahead and
via
provide a comment
Brown?
on the successor agency? And I can note it for the record now.
Yes, but you have to reopen that part of the meeting, ma'am. You failed to take public comment in violation of the Ralph M. Brown Act. That's pretty serious. Yes, it is. How come you refused to take public comment? When I pressed *9 for my virtual hook 3 times, and the lady on the phone said, "Is there any public comment?" "No, there's no public comment." "Is there anybody on that?" No, I'm closing public comment. And you kept doing that over and over again. And you voted on all those millions of dollars of items without any public comment. They're all subject to a cure and correct. Shame on Bell Gardens. It's a lot like the old days with Maywood and Bell and all those criminal charges, bankruptcy. That's what, things never change. I thought that
Did
you
you
were going to
want to
be,
provide a comment on the successor agency? We can go back and reopen that.
yeah, of course.
One moment, please.
It's only 8 cents. It's the right thing to do.
Mayor, would you like to go back and reopen the public comment for successor agency?
Give me 1 minute. We're consulting with our legal team.
You mean they're committing crime with lawyers in the room?
Hi, Madam Clerk. We're not going to reopen a successor agency. We have not had an opportunity for the public to make comment, but the caller is more than welcome to make their comment during the non-agenda item portion of the agenda.
Okay, thank you. And that is all the comments that we have here for items listed on the agenda. I do have 2 public comment cards, but they're submitted for non-agenda items only.
If there's no objection by the city council, I will close public participation. City manager, will you please give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Polito. I just want to acknowledge our community development staff for the tenant workshop that they held on Thursday, October 20th. They had 10 to 12 tenants, plus 2 landlords as well. That group, our community development department continues to provide assistance to landlords and to tenants that are calling regarding our new rent stabilization ordinance. And we're in the process of the recruitment for a housing specialist. So I think we should have somebody on board in the next probably 4 to 6 weeks. They'll be able to really not just assist in information in questions that we're getting, but also put information out there and be more proactive. Also, just like to mention, we've had a couple Fridays now with our farmers market. I know the group that's running the farmers market. My understanding is that they're happy with the turnout so far, and we'll continue to market that and try to grow that event as well. Also acknowledge a big one for us event-wise is the October 31st Halloween and Dia de los Muertos event at Veterans Park. It's actually on Halloween on the 31st on Monday from 5 to 9 p.m. at Veterans Park. The costume contest is at 7 p.m. sharp. So if you're interested in that, be there at that time. That's an event I think everybody looks forward to. Also just acknowledging before the next council meeting, the way the council meetings roll out, our next one is the second meeting of November, which is November 14th. So between now and then, we'll have elections at November 8th. I believe Veterans Park is a polling location for the elections. And also just acknowledge, I see a veteran in the crowd. Also want to just acknowledge November 11th is Veterans Day. We have a 10 a.m. event on Friday the 11th. So if you're able to make it out, great. And if not, if you can just take the opportunity to think of the people that have given a lot of sacrifice in the name of this country. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move to the consent calendar. Does any member of the city council wish to pull an item for separate discussion? May I have a motion to approve items 1 through 12?
So moved, Cortez.
May I have a second? I will second. We have a motion by Councilwoman Cortez and a second by myself. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Council members Barcena,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Flores Franco,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez, and Mayor Polito.
Yes. City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 13?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor Polito. This item is a local commission's appointment list. So it's staff recommendation at this time, if any of the city council members have an appointment that they would like to make, we do so and then ask for a motion. Now would be the appropriate time. Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Carla Acosta to the Senior Citizens Commission.
May I have a second?
Second, Cortez.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you. Councilmember Barcena. Councilwoman Cortez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Flores Franco.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Yes.
And Mayor Polito.
Yes. City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 14?
Thanks again, Mayor Polito. This item is one that we've been bringing approximately every 8 weeks or so. It's an aquatic center project update. At this point in time, before I turn it over to Liz Nava, our director, we've got a really nice design that's done. We've spent some money on that. We've got a lot of funding in place. We continue working on additional funding and a lot of moving parts to this. And so I think it's been important for us to just keep reminding the council on how much work is going on behind the scenes and also remind the public. We recently set up a pool specific page on our website so that people can follow, and we've been updating it on a regular basis every time we have new information. So with that, I'll turn it over to Liz, our director, to give a PowerPoint presentation. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. If you give me 1 minute, I'm just going to share my screen with everyone. Where's it at? Oh, here. Okay. It's taking a minute. Okay, thank you for your patience. The item before you tonight is, again, another aquatic center update to share with the community the progress that staff have made towards this project, as the city manager had mentioned. I'll just flip through some slides that you're very familiar with, just for the community to see again the plans that were created for the new aquatic center at Ford Park, including a 50-meter pool, a therapy pool, or an activity, and also an activity pool for children. Additionally, there will be an inside workout room, a weight room, exterior lockers, an amphitheater inside the facility, and different features, new locker rooms, staff areas, and staff areas as well. As you know, we've already spent about $1.5 million towards soft costs for planning and project development. And that $1.5 million was through the CDBG funding, the Community Development Block Grant funding. And that funding is mandated, the requirements of that funding is mandated to the city by an agency called LACTA, the Los Angeles County Development Authority. Recently, LACTA has put new requirements on the city, and before the city is able to move forward with any part of the project, they are requiring that we show proof of 100% project funding. And also they are requiring that the city puts both the demolition and the project construction plans together for one bid. Initially, we had planned to contract out the demolition portion in order to get that started sooner. And then secondly, would contract out, or excuse me, bid out the construction portion. However, we now have to combine both. So our engineering firm and the architecture firm are working together to combine both of those plans to resubmit to the county for approval. And based on this new information, assuming there are no more delays with the project, we would estimate that the soonest work can start on the pool would be April of 2023. So as I had mentioned, we have a new requirement from LACTA to provide 100% funding before we move further with the project, before we start demolition and construction. And staff are trying to think of creative ways to do that. And in order to eliminate extending the timeline and bank fees, one option that we are considering is coming before council to ask council to agree to fund the project, which the balance of the project, which would be between $10 and $15 million. But that is with the understanding that we would receive full funding from the dignitaries that we requested funding from, including Janice Hahn, Christina Garcia, and the state, Congresswoman Roybal Allard. And that also is with the caveat that staff would continue to seek funding to fund the full amount of the project as the project continues through completion. And just to give you an update where we are with the various funding that we've been requesting, we are waiting for the state to send us an agreement for the 6 million Land and Water Conservation Fund. Unfortunately, there is delays. It's just out of our hands. It's the internal procedure of the state. And so once we have an agreement that we can execute, then the funding would follow. Janice Hahn, we've been in contact with her staff and we're hopeful to receive the funding in the coming weeks. We continue to ask for updates and they're very optimistic that it'll be within the next few weeks to receive the funding. Assemblymember Christina Garcia, we expect to have funds in hand at the new year. I did receive an email last Friday from the state that with some paperwork for us to fill out, which is very promising. So hopefully we'll have that money early next year. And then with Congresswoman Roybal Allard's 1.5 million, we have to wait for that to be passed, that bill to be passed. And so we expect to hear notice of award in the spring of next year. Just to update you again, we have continued to provide swimming lessons through the Chet Hollyfield Park Pool in the city of Montebello and in partnership with the city of Montebello. We extended lessons into the fall and I'm happy to report that we've had over 175 participants. And we're working on offering water aerobics into the fall and into the winter because the pool is heated, which is great news. And we would love to offer our seniors classes with free transportation from the senior center to the pool once we can get those details worked out. We have an agreement with Montebello and they've allowed for the city of Bell Gardens to use that pool indefinitely. So we will continue to provide programming and to build up our aquatics programming until our pool is completed. One thing I'd like to mention to council is that we do plan to have swim lessons during the Montebello Unified School District spring break, which we hope will springboard us into the summer and get our numbers up again next summer. So for the key next steps, of course, staff will continue to provide monthly updates to the ad hoc committee. We are finalizing the request for proposals to hire a construction management firm to oversee and manage the project from beginning to the end. We will provide 100% project funding proof to LACTA, which will help us to move forward with the demolition. And once the plans and specs are submitted combined, we'll submit those to the county for review and approval. And then we'll come back to city council for the authorization of bidding and the demolition and construction contract.
And Liz, if you can go back to that that slide there, I just want to make sure Liz has mentioned it, but I think from a staff perspective, the biggest bullet point among a lot of large bullet points is the third one there. As Liz mentioned, at some point here in the near future, probably 30 to 60 days, what you'll see from staff, is a request for the council basically to acknowledge the 13 million that we have, but to consider effectively appropriating $10 to $13 million of our own city funds to show that we've got 100% funding. We'll still seek to replace those city funds with other funding sources, but barring us doing that, we'll not be able to move forward with actual demolition and construction. Just all of these funding sources I think are just afraid that they're going to put up their 2 million, their 4 million, their 6 million, and end up with a hole in the ground that doesn't get completed. The other option, if the council doesn't want to do that, is we would just continue working as hard as we've been working on securing additional funding. So that'll be something that I think is the most important next step that will be coming to council here probably just before the end of the year. Thanks, Liz.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Excuse me. And that concludes my report. I'm available for any questions that council might have. And let me stop sharing my screen.
Does any member of the city council have any questions or comments? May I have a motion to receive and file this report?
I'll second Chavez.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Flores and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores Franco,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cortez,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
and Mayor Pulido.
Yes. Public participation is now open for items not listed on the city council agenda. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you, Mayor. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the city council agenda under the subject matter of the city council. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker and written comment are limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone, and when instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom and select the unmute or the microphone icon when instructed. We will begin to hear from the members of the public that are physically present in the council chamber. If you have not done so, please submit all comment cards now. Bruce Crow, if you would please come up to the podium.
Can I take this down or not? Good evening, council. My name is Bruce Crow. I'm from the neighboring city of Downey, but I was raised here in Bell Gardens a long time ago when it was known as BG Billy Goat Acres. I did send some of you a news article about activities going on in the Central Basin Water District. And I was just concerned because we're having an issue over in Downey, I think is a definite ethics violation of the council that is not living up to their fiduciary responsibility to the resident ratepayers. We have been charged illegally on the meters and it's being covered up. It's being covered up. It's being covered up for quite a while. And there's activity going on. This article I sent you was from 2020. And I think it would be worth your while to take a look at it. And I'm asking you, have you heard of any of this before at all? Because the ratepayers in Downey have not heard anything. And we had an assistant city manager who was an appointed member of this board who was involved in the illegal meter charging of our residents. And since we are the ratepayers, the council has an obligation to bring this to every council meeting and put it on the agenda. And they have simply refused to do it. And we are in the dark and we want answers, and we're not getting answers from our mayor, Blanca Pacheco. We're not getting answers from John Escui, who is now retired after being on administrative leave. This is going on, and this is a tactic that is used by our new interim city attorney from West Hollywood. If they do put anything on the agenda, it won't be as a public hearing. It will be jammed into the consent calendar, and there will be no discussion on it at all. However, I know Christina Garcia tried back in 2015 to instill some reforms
with this Central Basin Water District, and she was backstabbed and betrayed in doing so. However, this article does point out that the current board of Central Basin fired all of their employees and left just a few people there. And I think you just need to be aware of that. And if you would respond by email, yay or nay, that would be welcomed. I just would like to know if anybody has heard any of this activity at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next speaker is Lee. If you would please come up to the podium. You have 3 minutes.
I'm going to read it to try to get through it. First of all, this is to everybody. Stop hatred towards police. To hate the police is to hate their children, and we veterans find that offensive. Also, parents are not domestic terrorists for exercising their freedom of speech that we shed our blood for. Thank you. Lee Squire, City of Downey, Vietnam veteran, retired City of Brea Finance Department employee, auditor, fraud examiner. Mayor and City Council, we the people of Bell Gardens, Central Basin Municipal Water District fraud and corruption. We have been denied awareness of lawsuits, and we've also been denied awareness of annual audits, all which have to do with accountability to all the 24 member cities. And the person responsible is John Askewy, the former Assistant City Manager of Downey. I'm from there. As to lawsuits, these are public records as to the content and are not to be buried in closed session. Only the discussion of the lawsuit is attorney-client privilege. Downey Pacheco and the City Council members concealed a lawsuit for an illegal fixed meter charge that was pushed by Downey Assistant City Manager John Askewy and the former law firm called AMLO. The court ruling in December 2020 was found to be illegal, and this was covered up by Downey City Council member Pacheco and my City Council. Then Central Basin sued a board member, Leticia Vasquez, for her free speech rights. There was a court ruling July 2022. This also was concealed by We the People, and We the People probably of Bell Gardens and Santa Fe Springs and Bellflower and other cities. Finally, Central Basin has now been sued in the reverse by Leticia Vasquez Rojas for violations, and she's personally sued General Manager Rojas and their attorney, Robert Baker. This was a court tentative ruling in August 2022. The lawsuit shall move forward. This was again an attack upon free speech, which I find offensive as a veteran and against an elected official. I find it offensive that a fixed illegal meter charge was withheld from all the 24 cities and was not volunteered to come before We the People, since we would have been stuck with it. Also, I'd like to announce that Alex Rojas, thank God, has been indicted, but however, he is still a Central Basin General Manager, and board members Chacon and Negretti are refusing to place it on the agenda for his removal by the entire board members. God bless America, God bless the military and its veterans, and God bless local policing and their family. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Rodolfo. If you would please come up to the podium.
Yes, hello. My name is Rodolfo Cortez. Like the other two gentlemen, I am concerned about what's going on with the Central Basin. The Central Basin is that building agency you can see as you drive up Telegraph towards downtown. And well, guess what though? Now it has a for sale sign. And that's completely unacceptable because it was sold in the dark of night. No one knows who it's being sold to. We barely know how much they paid for the building. So this is all malfeasance going on over at the Central Basin Municipal Water District. They're selling off our public building, our public assets to who knows who. So I find that troubling that I think that the city council should somehow do something. You can do a resolution. How about a resolution, even though it's symbolic for, to stop the thieves over at the Central Basin. I also think the council should consider a resolution to stop the other thieves who have been mentioned by the other gentleman. I'm very happy to see that of the 5 council members, only one appears on the endorsement list for Blanca Pacheco, Mayor Downey. So she is trying to go over to Sacramento. And I'm very concerned about the fact that Council Member Alejandra Cortez is endorsing Ms. Pacheco, because Ms. Pacheco, who worked here for a little bit until, the community found out and we, ousted her. It wasn't a good PR thing for her to be here. So we don't want Ms. Pacheco in Sacramento. We being here from Bell Gardens all the way to La Mirada. We don't want her. We think that she's done a bad job. She's a liar. She's constantly suppressing free speech over in Downey and elsewhere. So we don't appreciate that. So again, though, we appreciate the council members who are not listed on the endorsement list for Blanca Pacheco. So that would be everyone except Ms. Alejandra Cortez. We also appreciate the council members that are not listed for Robert Garcia's endorsements. That would be Mr. Bersena and Mr. Jorge Chavez. So yeah, we don't want Robert Garcia. We think that all of these politicians are corrupt. They're crooked. Everyone can see that. So we don't want that. Thank you for not being on their list. And that's it.
Thank you. Caller with the last 3 numbers, 849. If you would please select the microphone icon or dial *6 to unmute your call. You have 3 minutes. Caller with the last 3 numbers, 849. You have successfully unmuted your call. Caller with the last 3 numbers, 403. If you would please select the microphone icon or *6 from your phone to unmute your call. Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, it's Goat Puppet. Blanca Pacheco's my mommy. And yes, we're here again. All of the corruption. Well, that's what you have to do down there in the Central Basin. I mean, could you imagine operating things honestly? How would Blanca drive those pretty cars? How would Claudia Fraudmita drive that beautiful white car of hers? How would you have those free trips all over the world? But you couldn't do it. No, you couldn't do it. No. No, the answer is stealing. Yes, you have to go in there and stick your nose into that trough and nom 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 yum 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 and get as much as you can. And after all, you have a head start. It's been 4 years next month. We celebrate the 4-year anniversary and we're going to have it downtown. Oh, what are we celebrating? Oh, the FBI raid on the City Hall of Los Angeles. Yes, we're throwing a 4-year anniversary party. Yes, 4 fucking years of sitting around waiting for the day that they're going to take a big goddamn broom and sweep all the corruption out. But it's all a lie. They just go around slapping the little wrists. Mitchell Englander, for example, $50,000 of free shit, and he pays a sentence of 2 months in federal prison and released to a halfway house in 2 months. Now tell me, is it worth it? Oh, something like that, yeah. That's right. How about the Calderon brothers? Remember them? You're good friends. 6-month sentences. The FBI started at 118 years, and it went all the way down to 6 months. So as you know, the law has no teeth when it comes to you elected officials because you have government immunity. And you're free to do whatever the fuck you want with the money, and it doesn't matter. It's like the agency meeting earlier tonight. What did you say? I'll play the recording back.
We're not going to reopen the public comment.
And that's essentially what you do. So all the young people out there listening, all of the poor, get into politics. Now, I'm an old goat. I'm too old now to start, but if I had it to do all over again, I would have dropped out of school and become a pimp for one of you council members and built my way up to chief of staff and then head of a unit. And I could have been rich.
Caller with the last three numbers, 024, if you would please select the mark. Thank you. You've.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'd like to submit into the record case number of indictment 220 CR 00035 JFW-1 regarding criminal calendar of retained status of Mitchell Englander, which we heard public testimony on several violations of 18:1001A, 18:1001A parentheses 2, and 18:15112B parentheses 3 DM for notes. Well, like we said, there's just way too much corruption, and it all started with these attorneys that suck cock. Now, if you suck cock, bitches become pimps and pimp out the cocks to do the dirty work. Right, Mr. Olivares of Omo? And what about the bitches from Downey? The one fat cunt and one lesbo. What have those bitches done for Downey but to allow corruption under the Central Basin by making criminal threats and forcing Miss Leticia Vasquez Rojas to sue on her behalf of First Amendment protection?
We will cut you off the line. Thank you.
Well, ma'am, let me recite the law. Brandon Burke versus Ohio, U.S. 395, 444-1969. You dirty niggers, let me be heard. Fuck you, bitch. I will be heard. It's my First Amendment.
Okay, one thing is bad words, but did he just say the N-word? That's very racist. We can't have racism.
I cut off the line.
Cut him off.
Yes, I cut off the line, and that was the last caller.
If there is no objection by the city council, I will close public participation.
No comment.
Sorry, my microphone was off. Councilwoman Cortez?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say that although there is freedom of speech and there is callers that were calling with a purpose, the racial slurs were very unnecessary. The cuss words were very unnecessary. You're trying to get a message across and you're trying to prove that you have freedom of speech is not going to be here and not by integrating racial slurs into your speech. And I completely denounce that happened today. And that's not the way to get a message across, which is very disappointing in the callers that used public comment to get that across today.
Councilwoman Flores?
Yes, yeah, again, I'm happy that everyone's exercising their right to freedom of speech. However, racism has no space in Bell Gardens, especially not in this chamber. This is a public space for everybody to be seen, heard, and feel included, and racism will not be allowed here or tolerated. So please do not call back again if you plan on using this language. It's unacceptable. On that note, I just want to say thank you to those callers that did not use any bad words. And thank you so much to you guys for bringing this into light and to bringing to Bell Gardens. I know that there's some concerning things going on over there. So I appreciate you taking your time and being here with us today. It is very important that we continue to be made aware of what happens. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things that happen and we're not always available to see what's going on, but I do appreciate the time that you guys took to be here and sharing what you guys all know. And thank you for that. And on that note, I know that there was a passing recently of a chief of police in the city of El Monte. Mayor, if it's okay with you, I'd like to close off today's council meeting in honor of El Monte Chief of Police. And I'll waive the rest of my time in case our chief of police from Bell Gardens, Chief Fairfield, would like to say a few words. I don't know, I believe you guys worked side by side when there were some unfortunate events earlier this year. So with that said, I'd like to say my condolences to the El Monte Police Department and to the family of Chief Ben Lowry. Thank you.
Out of respect for the family and everything, I know that there was a procession today, and it was extremely sudden, although he was suffering from an illness. But the thoughts and prayers of all of you is appreciated, I'm sure, and also from the men and women of the Bell Gardens Police Department. And we'll pray for his family and his police department, the city of El Monte. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Thank you so much, everyone, for this meeting. Briefly, I do want to touch on a couple of things. First off, thank you to everyone, all the public that attended. Appreciate your comments, and at the same time, what's going on in Central Basin. I definitely like to be in touch and understand the dynamics. I've been in contact with, in the past, I met with Director Marta Camacho Rodriguez, I believe, and I know she's a director at Central Basin, so I'd definitely like to reach out to her, and as well as everybody else on the Central Basin board to understand what's happening. And in terms of council member comments for the activities and things that happened since our last meeting, since October 24th, since today's meeting, last 2 weeks ago, we had our supervisor, Janice Hahn, here in our city. We got to do like a hot dog / meet and greet with all the folks, and we got to meet with obviously our supervisor, some of the staff members. We had it here in our own Fire Station 39, so it was great interacting and definitely tuning in, having her tune in with what's happening here in Bell Gardens. I think the first thing that I did when I met with her was, thank you again for the support of the $4 million for the pool, but we want more if we can. So by all means, we definitely need like other things in our parks or anywhere else here in our city. So by all means, I'm always advocating for more resources and more funding for our city. Following that, this week we have obviously Halloween coming up a week from today. So I want to wish everyone a safe and happy Halloween. And at the same time, I know our city manager mentioned it, we do have an event happening at Veterans Park. And then at the same time, we're doing a co-event, which is a very cultural and significant event, Dia de los Muertos, where we remember our loved ones, and some of us may have altars in our own homes. So I know that's also a special event. I'll be dressing up. I invite all my colleagues as well to dress up, including the city manager and our legal team as well, to dress up on Halloween. It's fun. And it's going to be exciting doing the Halloween contest again. Finally, that same week, I know we have, I believe it's this week, a talent show for our seniors. So that's going to be fun. I'll definitely be in attendance. I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, on the 27th, we're going to have the Family Healthcare Resource Center for Greater Los Angeles right here on Gage and Garfield. They're having a annual health breast cancer awareness resource and health fair. And it's going to be from 9 to 12. So if anybody wants to attend and learn about resources for breast cancer awareness and other things related to health, by all means, 9 to 12 here on Gage and Garfield. I do have two questions for staff, and they're in similarities that I know have been worked here in our city for a bit, but I'm curious. I know it's for Director Grissel in regards to the work that's being done here on Loveland and Garfield, right next to the DMV. I know we've had that quite for a bit of time. I understand it's very last minute, but I did get someone from the community reached out in regards to the work that's being done, where it seems to be closed off on Loveland heading east. Do you by any chance have an update or understand when? I believe it was scheduled to be finished by the end of this year, but I don't know if there's been any updates since then.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez and members of the City Council. I did actually speak with a resident just last week about that same location. So that work the equipment that's out there that's causing the closure is tied to the county sewer rehabilitation project that's been going on for months now along different sections of Garfield Avenue. So the odor scrubbers, those two large vessels there, are required for OSHA as the contractors are working in the sewer pipes in live conditions, right? Everyone's still using their plumbing and flushing, and so they're working in there. So that scrubber is required to keep certain levels down. I think it's hydrogen sulfide down, so it's not dangerous for the workers, as well as eliminate noxious nuisance odors going into the neighborhoods around where the work is being done. So the timeline for that to be done is hopefully by February of 2023. So there's still a few more months of work to be done. And council will see in our news release, our social media release, there is more work planned on Garfield Avenue from Gallant to Florence. There'll be nighttime work, all related to that same project. So those tanks are there for all of the work on Garfield, essentially. But the whole entire project should be done by end of February 2023.
Thank you so much for
Thank
that.
you.
And then finally, in regards, I know we've had discussions in the past. I know we've done an MOU with the district, Montebello Unified School District, but I had quite a bit of concerns in regards to the intersections leading in our elementary schools, Cesar Chavez Elementary, Garfield Elementary. I know we've had some incidents where, obviously Garfield is a major street. We have big rigs going through there. I know I've seen a couple of crossing guards, and in Suva Elementary, Suva Intermediate, I know we've stationed an officer there. In the mornings, I've passed by there and I've seen one of our PGPD officers there. I'm curious to know if by any chance all schools near elementary schools or in general in the middle school and the high school, is there such thing in play when it comes to crossing guards? I think that's something, if it's not in play, we should definitely consider, adding more crossing guards throughout the nearby elementary and middle schools. I understand everybody's in a rush, but at the same time, I think safety should be the number one priority. So if that's not in the works, I'd definitely like to see that in the future when it comes to crossing guards around all of our schools in our city. So with that said, that concludes all my comments. Again, I appreciate everyone for being here. Appreciate the comments, the folks that tuned in on the line as well. Thank you. And appreciate everyone have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I would like to wish Sean Caprillion a happy birthday. The Caprillion family has been a partner to our community for a number of years, and today we join the family to celebrate and to wish you another year of happiness and health. And I hope you're celebrating right now. If there's no objection by the Bell Garden City Council, I would like to adjourn the City Council meeting in memory of El Mani, Chief of Police. Please join me for a moment of silence in his memory. And with that, we will adjourn.